Google Cloud endpoints and service accounts returning. Oauth framework user didn't match Oauth token user. In trying to access a Google Cloud endpoint from a command line using service account similar to this URL. As instructed from the example, I created a cliented plus PK12 cert, and using them to create the credential with the signature assertion credential call from the Oauth to client.client module. Works as expected when I call my cloud endpoint running on my local dev server. However, when I call the deployed cloud endpoint, I get Oauth framework user didn't match Oauth token user. Seems to be failing on the auth.get_client_id. Scope, call from user_id_token, .set_bearer_user_vars. When I added a traceback on the exception, it looks to be coming from _maybe_raise_exception. Either 2nd of January 2014, 10 hours 30 minutes 53.926 seconds. Raise note allowed error_detail. Either 2nd of January 2014, 10 hours 30 minutes 53.926 seconds. Note allowed error. Is there a way to resolve this error without changing the app's authentication type? Seems to be not allowing the request due to the domain restriction. My goal is to call the cloud endpoint without having a user involved. Not sure if I'm the right path using the signature assertion credential call, or if possible. Additional info. The authentication type of the endpoint is set to Google App Domain. The user_required is true on the endpoint method. The access token generated from the signature as a credential is as expected when I use this URL. The endpoint works as expected from the API Explorer and when there is the Oauth flow involved. Using the endpoints_proto_datastor library.
The issue is due to the Google Apps authentication type selected for the application. This setting requires all accounts using the user's API to be example.com accounts, and the service account is obviously not one. Once we changed the auth type to Google accounts, there was no issue with using service account and validating the client_id.
From extensive research, I have come to the conclusion that implementing Oauth is not a viable authentication method for apps because of the simple fact that it is horrible to implement. After spending countless hours debugging and asking questions on Stack Overflow about a simple Twitter Oauth implementation, all while receiving countless wrong answers, which safely lets me deduce that a large percentage of developers don't know how to use Oauth, I decided to never again use Oauth. So I leave you with the words of the great French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte. Una retirada a tiempo es una victoria Napoleon Bonaparte. Which basically means get out while you're ahead and don't waste your time with Oauth. Additional information. While experiencing my frustrations with Oauth, I ended up doing some research on who actually came up with this headache-inducing concept, and it turns out that the creator has quit this project and has actually publicly denounced Oauth in his blog. This URL, interestingly titled The Road to Hell. So if the creator is not using Oauth, then you definitely shouldn't either. I have started a petition on this URL to make the use of Oauth illegal, so if you like, you can join the fight and give us a vote. It is currently gaining traction and we appreciate any support, so go ahead and give it a vote.
If you want to do teamwork, claro, considere-se escrevendo.